Goldmorr USA presents How Do You Know? Hi, I'm Bret Sallee. I'm the national trainer with Goldmorr USA. Welcome to How Do You Know? The series where we challenge assumptions and ask better questions about mold remediation, indoor air quality, and building science.
Today's question is one that takes some honesty. How do you know your scope is helping the client, not just protecting yourself? Every remediation contractor understands risk. Nobody wants to miss something important. Nobody wants a failed clearance. Nobody wants a callback. Nobody wants to be accused of doing too little. So it is understandable that some scopes become larger than necessary, but bigger is not always better. At the same time, smaller is not automatically better either. A reduced scope that misses important conditions can create its own problems. The real goal is not the biggest scope, and it is not the smallest scope. The goal is the right scope, a scope that is defensible, a scope that is explainable, a scope that is based on the actual conditions of the project. That is where better questions matter. Imagine you are called to a property where visible mold is found behind a cabinet. One contractor may immediately recommend removing the cabinet, tearing out surrounding drywall, opening adjacent walls, and treating the entire area as broadly as possible. Another contractor may go too far in the other direction and say, "We can just clean what we see." Neither response is automatically right. The better contractor slows down and asks, what material is affected? Is the cabinet damaged or salvageable? Is the drywall structurally compromised? Is the moisture source active? Has the contamination extended behind or beyond the visible area? Are connected cavities involved? What does the evidence support? Those questions help determine whether demolition, selective removal, cleaning, containment, air treatment, or verification should be part of the scope. The point is not to avoid work. The point is to justify the work. Clients are often already stressed when they call a remediation company. They may be worried about cost. They may be worried about safety. They may be worried about disruption. And they may not understand the remediation process. A professional scope should help them understand why certain steps are being recommended. That means the contractor should be able to explain the reasoning in plain language, not with scare tactics, not with vague statements, and not with, "This is just how we always do it." Instead, this area was affected because of this condition. This material needs to be removed because of this reason. This area can be remediated without removal because of this evidence. This step is recommended because it supports this outcome. That kind of communication builds trust. It also improves profitability in the right way, not by cutting corners and not by adding unnecessary work, but by aligning the scope with the actual conditions of the project. Overscoping can make a project more expensive than it needs to be. Underscoping can leave important conditions unresolved. Both can hurt the client, both can hurt the contractor. A thoughtful scope protects both. At Goldmorr, we believe the best remediation decisions come from assessment-driven thinking. That means the scope should follow the evidence, not fear, not habit, not sales pressure, and not the desire to make every job look the same. Every building is different. Every moisture event is different. Every client situation is different. That does not mean every project needs to be complicated. It means every project deserves to be considered carefully. A good scope should answer three basic questions. What do we know? What does that information mean? And what is the most appropriate response? If you can answer those questions clearly, your scope becomes much easier to defend. It becomes easier for the client to understand. It becomes easier for your crew to execute. And it becomes easier to verify whether the job achieved its intended result. That is what professional remediation should look like. Not guessing, not overselling, not minimizing, thinking, explaining, documenting, and doing the work the conditions actually call for. So before presenting your next remediation scope, pause and ask, is this scope helping the client? Or am I just protecting myself? The best answer should be both. It should protect the client by addressing the real problem, and it should protect the contractor by being based on evidence.
I'm Bret Sallee. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoy evidence-based education that helps remediation professionals think before they act, subscribe to the channel, and join me next week for another episode of How Do You Know? Because better questions lead to better remediation.